This demo will show you how to add and subtract information to the load calculation. Let's start off with a clean sheet. So let's go to Tools, and up here we want to say Clear All. Press yes to clear all entries. Say yes. So what that'll do is start us off with a clean sheet, no information in most of the fields. And we start off with 0 neutral and 0 line amps. To start off our load calculations, let's put a customer name is house 1750 square foot. Okay, so we're going to call that 1750 square foot, and if we click in this update field, it'll give us the current time and date. Now, proceeding down to the load calculator, you notice if we hover over an item, we get a tooltip that pops up. It says right click to change color, left click to select the load selector item. So in this case, we're going to select dwellings. We move over to the square footage, and we click the square footage, and then the square foot converter pops up. So we can pull up this load selector, and we'll enter let's say 1900 square feet and return, and now that gets entered into our dwelling load selector. Let's now give the home a name, home, and then I notice we have made an error at this point. Up here we call it 1750 square feet, and down here we're calling it 19. So let's either highlight it here and put in 1750, update, return, or we could turn off the square foot utility by clicking this button and returning, and we could just highlight this section and put in 1750. Whichever way is more convenient. To get the load selector, in this case the square foot selector, to pop up, just press S. Okay, and notice we still have it checked, so that means that we're always going to have to press S to get back into it. Okay, so 1750 square foot, we have 1 unit, press update, so that the wattage has been updated for the load calculation. Next we go to ranges, and we're going to put in an 8,000 watt range. We can left click it 8 times, or we can just highlight it and type in 8,000, whichever is more convenient. So there we entered 8,000, or we could left click it 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oops, 9. And then the right click will bring it back down. Update, there we go. Dryer, the dryer loads. If we even just click it 1 time, it'll give us by updating, it'll give us the minimum 5,000 required by the standard calculation. Moving on, heat. We don't have heat in this one. We don't have a heat pump. We don't have an air conditioner. Appliance. Okay, what do we have for appliances? We have a dishwasher, and notice that when we leave the field, it propagates these other items for us. This dishwasher is a little bit low, so let's change it to 10 amps and then update. That's a little better. And calling it dishwasher 1, we don't really care for that, so let's just edit that and call it dishwasher. We also want to add a water heater. Let's look down here. Do we have a water heater? Yes, we have a water heater. So let's go ahead and click on water heater, and by clicking on another field, it tells us that it's 25 amps, 6,000 watts. That's good enough. Okay, now if we update all, it tells us that we have a total load of 89.3 line amps, and it's requiring a 100 amp breaker. If this was a sub panel, look what happens. It would only require a 90 amp breaker. But because it's a main sub or a service, the minimum service requirement is 100 amps. Okay, I think we're done with this load calculation now. But how are we going to print it? Well, let's go to Print Preview. We're not going to add a customer. And so here we have one method of looking at it. It shows that we need a service of a 100 amp breaker. It shows that we're going to need a service wire size of number 4 copper, or if we use aluminum, a number 2 aluminum. And it shows that we have a neutral requirement of copper 8 or aluminum requirement of 6. Okay. Hit the print icon to print it, or the door to close it. And now we get another way of looking at it. A little more extensive details here. So if we scroll down, we'll see a little more of the details here. We have 1 unit, 1750 average square foot, 3 VA per square foot. Aha! Looks like we need to add washer and appliance circuits here. So let's go back out, and we add 2 small appliances and 1 laundry, and update. Now we're ready to try printing again. Okay, close this item. Yeah, that looks a little better. We have a 1500 VA small appliance times 2, which is a code requirement. We have 1500 VA laundry times 1, another requirement. That totals to 9750. The first 3000 is at 100. The next 117,000 is at 35%, and after that is 25. We're not reaching that. So the net now is 5360. We have a range. After we've applied table 22055, it comes up with 6400 VA. We have a dryer of 5000. Our appliances add up to 62, which is a total of 23003. Divided by 240 volts gives us 96 amps, which is a 100 amp circuit breaker. This also tells us our service size, if it's aluminum or copper. And we need a service bond here of 6 if it's aluminum, or 8 if it's copper. Again, print it here or to leave this section. Let's close out now. Thanks for using Kennedy Enterprises demos.